Hi, my name is Jasmine Shepherd, and I will be giving a response in regards to our African American literature class. Taking African American literature at Texas Southern University is actually one of the best and most interesting classes I have taken thus far. In high school, we talked about African American literature, but we didn't talk about African American literature, like as far as different people's writings, but we did talk about brief history as far as like timelines and, us coming to America as slaves, us being free. But we never went into depth. And in this class, I actually got the opportunity to go into depth about the history of our ancestors and the mindset of the slaves when they arrived and what they went through, and the mindset of the actual slave owners and white Americans at that time. Um, when slaves first arrived here, we were looked at as not intelligent. They didn't think we were smart. They thought that because we didn't read or write English, that meant we weren't educated and we weren't able to learn. But I also learned that um, one thing that we did amongst each other was we would tell stories. We would sit around one another and tell stories, and these stories would have deeper meanings and subliminal messages. Um, some of the folk tales would have hidden meanings so that only like the slaves would know exactly what they meant. Um, One of the folk tales that I really liked was Better Making Money, which was a folk tale that showed different characteristics, and it showed how intelligent and how we could trick our master into, um, getting money from them. Like in the folk tale, the character, he tricked his master into basically giving him his whole fortune. And in different kind of folk tales, kind of similar to that, and even ones that were different in their own way, they showed that even though they thought we weren't smart, it showed things that we did to show how intelligent we actually were, as well as it showed how intelligent the storyteller or the actual writer of that folktale had to be able to create such characters that were able to do these type of things. Another thing that I found really interesting that I got to learn in depth about was the different African American stereotypes that were created for us. We watched a documentary called Ethnic Notions. I would recommend anybody to go and watch that documentary. It's a very good documentary that, like I said, talks about the different African American stereotypes that were created for us. A couple of the stereotypes that stuck out to me the most were the Mammy and the Pickaninny. These two characters were major character stereotypes that were depicted in everyday things like household items, cartoons, advertisements. They even had them in like childhood songs. And these stereotypes are the births of some of the stereotypes that are used for us today in African American culture. Um, this documentary, like I said, anybody I would recommend to go watch it. It really just breaks down the different categories. And after I watched this video, it kind of made me understand some of the behaviors that I see and some of the mindsets of why people think what they think about our culture. Um, if I was able to use any of the information that I have learned this semester, I probably would use it to teach my nieces and nephews and my kids to make sure that they know their history. I will teach them as much as I can, teach them everything that I learned. I also want to do better by giving back to the Black community, to make sure that I invest my money and my time into our communities, something that we call casting down our bucket, to make sure that our communities reap the benefits of what we, of us making money. And I feel like the best way to do that is to pass down the knowledge and to build more Black owned stores. Um, my biggest thing is just to make sure that our history is not lost, because without our history, pretty much I feel like we'll fall into the same, the same patterns. And just because we're physically free, if we don't know our history, then we could be slaves mentally. I also just want to say thanks to Dr. Benson for taking the time out to teach us as much as she could in this short amount of time, and for always challenging our minds. Thank you for your time.